Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing today then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit, and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3. That gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Now then, let's take a look at Nick de Vries. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Alexander Albon put in a great lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Sainz, Valtteri Bottas, and Vettel, Leclerc, Norris, Gasly, and Daniel Kvyat. Blue, Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, and Perez, Russell, Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Nicholas Latifi. De Vries and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Leclerc ahead, Verstappen behind. The distance to the leader is 2.3 seconds. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps. Sat in P8, Norris ahead, Leclerc behind. The gap to the leader is 3.7 seconds. P7, 7th place. Bottas is ahead of you. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Norris behind. They're on fresh softs. Our gap to first place is 3.7 seconds. 20 laps until your pit window is open. is sat in 6th. Sainz is ahead of you. Less than a second separate you. They're on fresh softs. Bottas is behind you. They're on fresh softs. Okay, gap to leader, 3.5 seconds. 20 laps until your pit window is open. DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. P5. Vettel is ahead of you. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Sainz is behind you. Less than a second separate you. They're on fresh softs. The distance to the leader is 3.7 seconds. We're leading our teammate by 6.2 seconds. Position. You're in 4th position. Ricardo is ahead of you. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh softs. Vettel is behind you. They're on fresh softs. The gap to the leader is 3.2 seconds. You have 18 laps till your pit window opens. Front wing. It'll need replacing if it takes too much damage. Is +1. Faster engine modes are available. maneuver. You made it look easy. Second place, you're in second place. Hamilton is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 2.8 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Ricardo behind, less than a second separate you. They're on fresh softs. Your pit window opens in 15 laps time. Excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down. You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap. sat in P2. Hamilton ahead. The gap to the car ahead is 2.8 seconds. They're on old softs. Ricciardo is behind you. Okay, the gap behind is 2.0 seconds. They're on old softs. You have 11 laps till your pit window opens. To teammate behind is 13.6 seconds. Overtake and burn some of this energy. Release, release. Okay, you only have to stop once now. One stop left. is 8.8 seconds. Jeff here, radio check. Check, can you hear?
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about Blue. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Alexander Albon will lead us away from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Sainz, Valtteri Bottas, and Vettel, Leclerc, Norris, Gasly, and Daniel Kvyat. Blue, they've taken a grid penalty. Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, and Perez, Russell, Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen, and Nicholas Latifi. De Vries and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.